Nope, I think I'm live. It says I'm live. It says you're live. Is there? I got a little time ticker. Here we go. Hey, welcome back. Nobody. Once again, I've told nobody that I'm. I told one person just like a minute ago that I'm doing a live stream, but this is Matthew, owner and uh, mechanic at Upcycles PDX at 5516 Northeast 16th Avenue in Portland, Oregon. Um, and this is my second ever live stream. Last week, I talked about how to adjust the mechanical brakes that are common on Rad Power bikes. And I haven't looked today, but as of yesterday, I had a whopping 13 views, I think, and a couple comments, all from the same person. And I saw I have one subscriber, and I think it's that same person. So if you're that person, hey, thanks for being my first fan. You're I'm your fan too. Let's go both ways. Let me know if you do a live stream. And today, what I thought I'd talk about is a bit more basic. I think there's a hunger out here for this, and it's just kind of like, well, okay. So let's take it back a few sentences. Yeah. So a common thing that comes into the bike shop a lot is a person who is looking to buy an e-bike, has kind of just started dipping the toe in to see what's out there, and they walk into the bike shop because they see that we're branded as Portland's friendliest bike shop. Which, for the record, I think I'm pretty friendly, but I don't. To me, there's something inherently like ironic or like hypocritical about maybe that's a bit too harsh, but it's certainly ironic about being like I'm the most friendly. Like that's fundamentally like I don't know. Maybe being like competitive or being superlative is not at odds with being friendly, but I don't love it. But anyway, that branding was out there before I bought the shop, and I just kept it. I'm pretty friendly, but I'm not like a person who can just be everything to everyone. And when I'm fixing a bicycle, I kind of need to focus on doing that. And because that's the main way that I make money, I kind of try to fill the schedule with doing that. And so when somebody walks in and the language they often use is like, I want to pick your brain. And I'm like, no, man, I don't want you to pick my brain. That sounds disgusting. And like, no, I charge for my time, generally speaking. So, like, I do test rides for free and I'll answer all kinds of questions when we're doing those test rides, but you have to schedule it. I have to plan for it, for budget my time accordingly. Um, and it's just kind of like random interruption in the middle of the day from somebody who has never previously contacted me. And they want to ask like basic questions about like what an e-bike is or what kind of options there are, how they work, or anything like that. I just don't really want to do it. But my sort of frustration with that experience is part of what inspired me to think maybe like live streaming, just kind of like funnel all those customers down, or all those potential customers, or all those brain pickers down to kind of one place, one time, 1 hour a week. Was sort of the idea. Um, yeah, so I kind of thought, why don't I use, while I'm still experimenting with this, figuring this out, why don't I one try to figure out if I can share my screen, because I think I can do that. So anybody watching this in the future is going to have to suffer through that, and then two, just kind of talk through some of the common brands and answer some questions about them. Um, so first thing I'm going to do is Google how to share screen YouTube live stream. What do we got? While live streaming using live control rooms through a webcam, you can now share your screen. After you have gone live using a webcam, click Share Screen in the bottom center next to the mic button. Share your entire screen, a window, or a tab. Is it really that easy? Is it this right here? Hey! Um, Google Chrome would like to record computer screen and audio. Grant access. Sounds good. I think I turned that on. record the contents of your screen until it is quit. If you choose, or you can do it later. Okay, well, I'm going to hit quit and reopen, and I might have to start a whole second video. I don't really know. We're going to find out together. If this is the end of this stream, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time in like 2 minutes. Here we go. I think it worked. Okay. Welcome back. I have no idea. And let's try this. Now let's hit share screen. I'm going to share, but I don't know why. And then looks like it's showing that tab. So now I'm going to go here. So I can't see myself, but maybe that's good. Oh, before I do anything else, shout out to Idle PDX. I got a beer. This will be my only beer until I live stream again. That's my goal. I'm only allowed to drink when I live stream. It'll keep me motivated to live stream so I can get one tasty beer. Idle provided with me, well, I paid for it, but I provided Idle with $5, and Idle provided me with a Culmination Brewing Company Fresh Hoptoberfest, Fresh Hop Marzen Lager. So I've had it before, but let's find out. I wonder what it'll taste like. That sure is beer. Okay, so in this tab, so the first brand I'm going to talk about is called Rad Power bikes. Rad Power bikes are, according to their own, whoa, there we go. According to their own marketing, they're the best-selling e-bikes in North America, but not in the States. Lectric claims that they are the best-selling e-bike in just the States. Heard. I don't know if I like that full screen. Let's go back. But how are we still doing? Oh, it's all still there. Cool. When I first bought this shop, we already had the relationship with Rad Power Bikes, and that was already their marketing, was best-selling e-bike in North America. More recently, like sometime this summer, I think Lectric bikes started saying they're the best-selling e-bike in the United States. So whether that was already true, I mean, using the language North America seems intentional but also maybe they're just doing one messaging. It doesn't matter. I don't know. Both are very popular brands. Let's move on. I don't know where I think I was going with that. Anyway, so Rad Power bikes are the brand that Upcycles works with the most. To be completely fair, wait, where I just scrolled past. Look at that happy lady with her bike. That could be you. To be fair, Upcycles already had the relationship with them when I bought the shop, but I was excited about the relationship with them. I didn't know nearly as much about Rad as I know now at the time, but I knew a little bit about them. I generally thought of them as like lower quality than some of the bikes like other shops I'd worked at sold. And they are, in fairness, but I thought of them as like good enough for most people, and I still basically think of that. And then I'm going to bring it back over here so I can see myself because I'm vain. But basically, also there's going to be the background sound of the heater because it helps my dog take a nap, so he won't whine at me for the next 30 minutes or whatever. But so you can break things down like a bunch of different ways, but one way that I like to break things down, you have essentially two sides of the industry selling e-bikes right now. You have basically the traditional dealership model, which is how cars are sold, and it's how bikes traditionally have been sold, which is like a bike shop buys a bunch of bikes. They pick a brand. In e-bikes, common good ones are like Tern, Gazelle, and there's a bunch of others, right? Trek is making good e-bikes. Specialized is making good e-bikes now. Like a lot of the big bike brands are buying them. But so the store buys a bunch of bikes, kind of speculating what the customers are going to want, builds them up, puts them on the floor. People come, take test rides, buy a bike, take it home. pretty straightforward. That's the traditional model. And then there's the direct to consumer model. So those are basically websites that sell bikes. And then generally, some of them will also work with dealers. Speaking from someone who's worked in the bike industry, it's not a very good job for the dealer to do that. Not a very good deal is what I meant to say. Because basically you're now competing with a website, and the direct-to-consumer brands do all kinds of shit. Like they change their prices all the time. So if I buy a bike an open secret of the bike industry, margins aren't very good on bikes. Like if you're getting a 30% margin on a bike as a bike dealer, you're doing pretty well. They can be like below 20%. Meaning like if you bought a bike for I don't know, $500, there's a good chance that the shop bought that bike for like $400, and had to like build it and get it ready for you and schedule you for a test or do the test ride with you, and if they're paying a bunch of people, it's like they made no money on that bike, and if you go into a bike shop and you buy a bike and it's like 30% off, they essentially like lost money on that bike. Arguably it was like a pass through, say it was $1,000, maybe they bought it for 700, build it, sell it to you, listed it for 1,000, nobody buys it, they mark it down to 700. So they made their money back, but somewhere in there, someone had to build the bike, someone had to sell the bike. If they have employees, someone got paid for that. If it's like a single mechanic shop like this, then owner, operator, independent contractor, whatever I want to call myself, sole proprietor. If they did it that way, that person just worked for you for free, and they didn't work for you, they worked for themselves, and they just made a mistake and bought a bike nobody wanted at the price that it was worth. But yeah, so if you're doing that, you already have like these razor thin margins, and then you partner with a brand who is also going to undercut prices with their website all the time, and your customers are going to expect you to match it. So you bought a bike for $700 thinking you're going to sell it for $1,000, and then while it's sitting there on your floor, the bike company website decides, actually, we're going to sell these all for $800. Okay, well, now I just have to eat $200 projected profit because I have to match the price on the website, or else the customer is going to just buy the bike on the website and not buy it from me. There's ways around that, like charging for assembly and stuff like that, but it's really just not a good deal. So you may find a dealership that has some of the brands that I'm going to call direct-to-consumer brands, because some people do it. So some shops do it. If they'd asked me, I would have told them it's not a great deal. And I'm not going to get too like inside baseball. I dipped my toe into it with Rad, and basically like the water was not right, and I took that toe right back out. But Rad is trying to get on the dealership model. They've had some success with it, but I don't. I'm not going to show you, but I did a whole spreadsheet of like what they sell the bikes for, what they're saying the MSRP is for, and then what they're actually selling the bikes for. And on a bunch of them, I would have just lost money. Like so it just doesn't make sense. The way I do it now, I'm an affiliate, I'm not a dealer. That relationship was already established when I bought the shop, but it works pretty well. I get a commission. I get a smaller percentage than I would if I were able to sell the bike at MSRP, buying it myself. But I don't really feel like I'm able to do that. And this I can turn the camera here and maybe kind of show you the bike shop. There, you've seen the entire bike shop. I can push it up and you can see the bikes in the ceiling. And that's going to be super small because you're looking at this Black Friday sale panel from Rad Power. But I've got 350 square feet, so I don't want to store a bunch of bikes in here anyway, even if the rest of it made more sense. And so it just makes more sense to me. I have a couple of bikes out front that I'm not going to turn the camera to show you, but I do test rides on those, and then people buy the bike. I get a commission. It works pretty well. But so that's my relationship with Rad Power. I'm also a warranty partner, service center, stuff like that for them. I don't know for sure. I don't have firm numbers. I would assume as an individual mechanic in the past year, I have probably serviced more Rad Power bikes than literally anybody else in Portland, Oregon. I don't really know that, and that's if you're like into like cool bikes, that's like kind of the cool bikes meaning like I don't know salsa or something, crust. Those are super cool, right? That's the I don't know. That's the I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that. The hip semi obscure, very hip bike brand, but not obscure if you're like hardcore into bikes, but if you're like a normal person, you haven't heard of them, but you probably have heard of Rad Power if you're a normal person because they're like pretty popular. I'm not like a status guy. I just want people riding bikes. I'm okay with the bikes being corny or like normal or not where the hip young tattooed youth are. But anyway, I'm going to stop talking about that and start talking about Rad Power bikes. So we're looking at their website here. What can I tell you about Rad Power? They're a direct-to-consumer brand. The corporate is based in Seattle, but they're made in China. Most of these bikes are going to be made in China. Most bikes sold in the U.S. are more traditionally made in Taiwan, and then currently with like the explosion in the e-bike market, a lot of them are made in China. And so their website is radpowerbikes.com. You can click on e-bikes here and see how they're sorted. Here's are these all their current models? Radster, Rad Runner, Rad Expand. Yep, that's all their current models. So let's run through all of these quickly. But so prices on them are basically going to run somewhere between a little over $1,000 to a little bit over $2,000. Kind of my spiel on them, right, is here's where they are. They're like in this like thick middle band, and there are bikes below that. Bikes below that are generally like the pieces of shit that they sell on. I mean that. I mean to be mean about these bikes. The stuff they sell on Amazon, the stuff they sell at Bimart or Walmart, don't buy any of those. They are cheaper. They're generally not going to have been put together competently. They generally have very low quality parts. They're not safe. They're not a good investment. They cause fires. Don't buy them. But, for a lot of America, they're just going to buy the cheapest thing. So that's that band down there. Then here's where Rad Power is. Then there's this band above that. The band above that are higher quality, like really high quality bikes that you're going to find generally at dealerships. And like some of those brands I said before, Turn, Gazelle, Urban Arrow, Specialized, Trek, Giant. I'm trying to think some others. Anyway, a lot of them are going to have like the Bosch motor system on them. Generally, if you see a bike with a Bosch, it's going to be a good bike. BOSCH, German manufacturing company. I think they make like They make my laundry machine, my clothes washer and dryer. They make appliances. They're a great company, really high quality. Those motors are all fully serviceable for the most part. Any bike that has a Bosch system on it is probably a decent bike, but they're all going to start at a price point above like the Rad Power bikes. So Rad Power exists at this point where they're not the cheapest thing, but they're significantly better than the cheapest thing. They're not the best thing, but they're significantly cheaper than the best thing. So they're kind of in that like thick middle section where a lot of the American consumer is, and I think like kind of bang for your buck. I think they're a really good choice. And I can tell you a lot about them. But real quickly, the Radster is kind of their top of the line bike at the moment. Currently, the prices on those are $21.99. The Trail and the Road. The Trail has a 27.5, I believe, tire on it, and it's a little bit wider. It's like a 3-inch tire or something like that. I'm not going to get too into the specifics. The Road has a 29 by 2-inch tire, so it's larger in diameter. It's a little bit skinnier, but the thing I like to point out to people, The 2-inch tire, that's like a 90s mountain bike tire. So like if you were comfortable riding on trails on those back in the day, you'll be fine on this off-road, but it is advertised as a road bike. But 2-inch tire is a pretty wide tire on its own. And that's really the big difference between them. This is a more full coverage fender. You can see here there's like a partial coverage on the trail. And then you can't really tell from the way they have it set up in the photo, but generally the Radster Road is going to have you a little bit more in like an upright kind of Dutch bike style. Handles a bit like a light motorcycle, or how I assume a light motorcycle handles. I've never ridden a motorcycle. And then the trail, to my experience, is a little more head forward, a little more head down, though the way they've got this set up here in this picture, no, it isn't. So I don't know. But also, I mean, I'm not like measuring these, and these I can't really tell, but that's been my experience riding them. But it also might be how people are choosing to set them up. In the cargo and utility, that's going to be their Rad Wagon. Oh, and they also have the runner in here. So Rad Wagon is their sort of flagship bike if they have one. You see this orange cargo bike here. That's the Rad Wagon 4. MSRP $17.99, but they're selling it for $15.99. This backs up my assertion about the prices and things going on sale, and why a dealer probably shouldn't work with a direct-to-consumer brand. And then the Rad Wagon 5 is their new one. There has been a major quality control issue with the Rad Wagon 5 that they are dealing with it. If you buy a new bike from them this year, you get a 2-year warranty. It will be covered under warranty, but you might be waiting for a second for it to be sorted out. But the first batch of them they made, I think basically all of them, the back wheels were not made correctly. And like basically they're not tension balanced, and you kind of can't balance the tension on them. I did on one, and it took me like 4 hours, and it shouldn't take that long. It was super hard. And I still wasn't super confident with it when I was done, but it looked way better than when I started. And then they have gotten better. I've gotten a bunch of replacement wheels for people, and like they're just out of the box. They're obviously much better. So I think it's only a matter of time till I can more heartily endorse this bike. But right now, buyer beware a little bit. It's still a good bike. You get a 2-year warranty. If you get one of the bum wheels, they will take care of you, but it's frustrating to spend $2,400 on a brand new thing and then it immediately needs repair. What makes the wagon special? You can put 2 kids on it. This is a passenger section back here where I'm running my mouse, and yeah, that's really it. You can put 2 people on it, and then same thing with the Rad Wagon 4. The 4 has a more unusual tire size. It's a 22-inch tire versus a 20-inch tire on the 5. So this is a more common size. You're going to have more tire options in it. And then this has mechanical brakes, like the ones that we looked at during my stream last week. Let me come back here and see if anybody popped in. Nobody. Awesome. Yeah, so they're a little more finicky to adjust. This has the hydraulic brakes, which are like better to adjust. And then there's some other things. This is a better battery and stuff. So that's kind of their like classic kid carrier. And then they also in here put the Rad Runner. Rad Runner can take 1 passenger. You can see it there. And then they've got the Plus, the 2, and the 3 Plus. The 3 Plus has the hydraulic brakes. The 2 and the Plus have the mechanical brakes. I'm pretty sure this is their best-selling bike, the Rad Runner 2. It's their most bare bones. It's one of their lowest priced, and it doesn't come with fenders. It's like their only bike that doesn't come with fenders, but it does come with a rack built in. To put a passenger on it, you have to add to it. The Runner Plus comes with the passenger package already installed, so you can see there's a passenger seat there. There's a wheel skirt, which might not show up on your screen, but there is. And then there's a peg here for the passenger. It doesn't come with a handlebar for the passenger. They just have to like hold on to the driver. But and then this is a 7-speed bike, and it also has a suspension fork. This is a single-speed bike and has a rigid fork. Price, but it's a $400 difference in price. So like, if you don't want that stuff, go with this. What I love about the Rad Runner 2, it's just a simple little bike that goes, just a single-speed drivetrain. they just kind of work and work and work. I am hoping that they're still offering it for the foreseeable future. And then the 3 is kind of all the bells and whistles. It has the hydraulic brakes, the 7-speed drivetrain, the suspension fork. It's got what they call their semi-integrated battery, and it's got a standard seat, so you can the standard seat post. You can swap out your seat on this bike. You can't tell from the photo, but the seat and the seat post are the same. They're like one part. It has like a goofy plate on here that I've never seen on any other bike either. If you want a different seat, and you have to get a new seat post as well on this. But otherwise, I really like this bike. It's probably my personal favorite one of theirs. Of the ones I have for test ride, it's the one I've personally put the most miles on. But yeah, so that's what they have in their cargo category. City and commuter, I think this is going to repeat a bunch of stuff. Yeah, there's the Radster Road, there's the Rad Runner. And okay, they've got kind of everything in this category. But so the Rad Kick is their newest bike, and it's their most budget priced, though they actually went up in price recently. But so they've got a belt drive one that's also just a single speed. This is a torque sensing bottom bracket. Torque sensing bottom bracket. We didn't talk about this. I skipped over this. Until this year, all of the Rad bikes, the older models, have just a cadence sensor. So what that means is basically when I'm going to come back to look at myself to watch myself explain it. You pedal, and the computer in there, the little brain in there, all it knows is that you've pedaled, and then it turns the motor on. If you want to change how much work the motor does, you have to actually change like what you have it set to as far as like its assist level. It's not on its own going to, you push harder, it doesn't matter. You can just spin, you can put it in the lowest gear and just spin, and it'll turn the motor on. So it's a very simple mechanism. A bunch of the new bikes, including those Radsters, the Road and the Trail that I talked about first, and this belt drive kick, and the Radwagon 5. Those have a torque sensing bottom bracket, so that you push harder in the same assist level. You push harder, the motor works more. You push softer, the motor eases up. So it feels more intuitive to a lot of people. So yeah, that's the belt drive kick has that torque sensing bottom bracket. Definitely consider that an upgrade. Belt drive itself, I think, is horribly oversold, and you will find on company websites. Let's click this. I hope it doesn't say this on here. So I might have to argue with a website into my webcam right now if it says it. It says low maintenance, 0 lubrication. That's true. Okay. So you will find belt drive marketed as no maintenance, and I'm really happy that they didn't do it. Offers a quieter ride and lasts longer. No chain to lube. Okay, they do say low maintenance instead of no maintenance. That is good for them. That is way more honest. So here's the thing about belt drive. It's way more expensive than chain drive. The benefits of it's quieter, which matters to some people, and you never have to lubricate it, and it doesn't get like dirty. It self-lubricates is how it was explained to me years ago. Exactly what that means, I don't know, but it self-lubricates, and you're never going to get like chain oil on like your khaki pant leg, So like if you're like a commuter and you're like, I dress nice for the office, and I don't want, black bullshit on my pant leg, then belt drive is nice for that. Comes with some trade-offs. It's more expensive up front. When you do need to replace it, it's more expensive to replace, and you're kind of locked in. It's more limiting. There's not as many companies making it, to get like your exact gearing, you might be locked into like one supplier, and you're going to pay the price that they want you to. There's a company I hate called Priority Bikes. Fuck Priority Bikes. I will be public with my opinion of them forever. They are bullshit. And he for sure is doing like proprietary. I don't know about proprietary, but he has like gearing that's like very particular to his bikes, so that when you need a new cog or a new chainring, you have to get it from him. Nobody else has it. And I believe, and David Weiner, feel free to come fight me. Come join my live stream. I believe that he did that on purpose as a cynical move to kind of snooker his customers into being his customers, not just when they buy the bike, but like, down the road. And he's one of the people calling it no maintenance, which is a lie. The man is lying to you. But here's the thing: you have to clean it. Just like with a chain, when you get a bunch of dirt and grit in there, and you will, if you ride in the rain, which if you're a commuter in Portland, Oregon, you're probably going to ride in the rain, even if you don't try to. It's probably going to happen to you. If you ride off-road, even if you only ride when it's nice, and only ride on the road, there's still some amount of just like ambient dirt, like here in our atmosphere on Earth. It's gonna get dirty, and then and you can seriously like clean it with a hose. Like it's not like a hard thing to clean, but because they're sold as no maintenance, people don't clean them, and then they wear them out prematurely, and then they get like a harsh reality check of like, oh, it's like kind of hard to like. Some shops don't want to even see this thing. I have to wait for parts. I have to order specific parts, and it's expensive. So no, buyer beware. If you want something that like is like cleaner and quieter, and it just has a different feel, and it feels a little bit more like gliding. It feels maybe a little bit more like a future bike, like because it's like a newer technology. There you can see it up close. Can I? Here, if I click this, will it make this like my whole screen? I don't know if that's any bigger than before, but there. Hey, all right, there is the belt. So you get an idea what that is. It ends up being more expensive in the long run, but if it makes sense to you, go for it. But so that's their belt drive, Rad Kick, and then at a significant jump down, well, a $200 jump down in price, not as big as I thought. There's the 7-speed kick, so this is variable gearing, and it's on a chain. This one just has. Oh. Hey, baby, I'm live streaming.
Sorry.
That's okay. Do you want to be on?
Sure.
Wave to the people. There's nobody watching, but
fine.
Somebody will probably watch it later.
Yeah.
Here, why don't I see if I can pause this? What happens if I hit end stream? Your stream will stop immediately and you will no longer be live. Well, we don't want to do that. Is there a way to pause? I don't see a way to pause it. You just want to take him home and I'll catch up with you later. Okay. Cool. I'm going to keep talking while they get ready to leave. And okay. So let's get back here. Cool. All right. It's still just sharing that one tab. That's so awkward. I don't want to keep talking while you're.
Sorry. Here, how about this? We're only going to need a little. All right, have fun. Bye.
Cool. All right. Love you guys.
Love you too. Okay.
All right. Get home safe. Will you lock me in? Awesome. All right. Such is life. My wife came and got the dog, and now I'm all alone, and nobody's watching. I'm like alone for real now. Finally. But okay. So the 7-speed kick, big downgrade here with, also both of these have the hydraulic brakes. Big downgrade with this one. It does not have the torque sensing bottom bracket. It just has the cadence sensor. Otherwise, pretty good little bike for the price. The Radsters we already talked about. The Rad Rover we talked about. The Rad Rover 6 Plus is garbage. Please don't buy this bike. It is the only Rad bike that I will say, like, I really don't like this thing. I don't want to work on them. I think it's a poor purchase. My main complaint with it is this. It has these stupid wheels on it. They are 26 by 4. And like basically it's a gimmick. People see it and they think like, oh, that thing will just roll over anything. No, it won't. One, you're probably not doing the kinds of things where like a tire like that would be warranted. These big like fat bike tires, and correct me if I'm wrong, they were created sometime in like the 2000s. A friend of mine who was like he was like a trail rider. He was like a guy that would like build trails back in Pennsylvania. We weren't close. I don't really know him. He was more like a friend of a friend, like an acquaintance. But a guy I knew, I was friends with him on Facebook, so we were friends in that regard. I remember him posting about like, hey, I finally saw a fat bike today. They're really stupid or something like that. That was probably like 2007, 2008, something like that. I had to look it up at the time to see what it was, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, okay, it just is a big wheel. To my knowledge, they were kind of created for like sort of extreme riding conditions. You can put them at like a super low PSI, so you can roll over like sand and snow and roll through a swamp and stuff like that. So like, if that's your application, cool. This bike weighs like 75 pounds, so you're not doing that kind of stuff with it. It has to be charged every like 40 miles. So you're not going to be doing that with it. And it looks, I think they might somewhere on here use the language like a tank. I've had customers use that phrase to me. They're like, no, it's like a tank. Not really. So the way it works is this: a bigger wheel is heavier. So you have a heavier wheel that you have to get spinning. So it's going to be slower to get it spinning. But also now when it is spinning, you got this big, heavy, stupid thing whipping around on there. And what I've seen a lot, not a lot, but I've seen it on ones. I've seen it a few times, and I've seen it consistently on this bike. We'll go with that picture. So close up, can I make this bigger? Is that getting bigger? I don't know. Back here, this is the rear axle. So this is the motor back here on the back wheel. You've got this big, stupid, heavy wheel, and people get that going really fast. It goes 20 miles an hour, right? And there's a hack for them. Don't do it. You damage the bike. You void your warranty when you do it. But it's out there. You can find it on YouTube. Don't do it. But you can make it go even faster than that. And so you've got a 750 watt motor. It's got a bunch of torque in it, and it's twisting this big, heavy thing around. And what does it do? It's straight up like it can rotate in the dropout and like stress and like spread out the dropout on the frame. And then if you're still under warranty, I guess Rad owes you a new frame. But you might not know that it's happened until your warranty's over. And there's no fix for it. You can, what I do when I see it, when I put the wheel back on, I rotate it back in the direction that it's going to want to rotate, and then I torque it to spec, and I tell the customer like, hey, wishes and prayers or whatever. I don't like it, and I've worked on a bunch of their bikes. It's not a common problem with Rad Power bikes. It's a problem specific to this bike. And I'm willing to bet anything. It's just because the wheels are too fucking big. Also, it's like it takes up too much space. It's like it's just like a total pain in the ass. I hate it. I hate this bike. It's the only one of theirs I feel that way about. The Radster Trail ticks a lot of the same boxes, but just has a more practical wheel size to it. It's a little bit bigger in diameter. It's a little bit narrower. It's still plenty wide. You do not need a 4-inch tire. I don't care who you are. You don't need it. Don't buy this bike, but it's here. And I mean, you do you. Like, there's no reason why you have to listen to me. Let's zoom this back out. But my opinion. So again, I got into bikes as like a means of transportation, as a way to like live more peacefully in my relationship to the world, to not to not need blood for oil, to not buy gasoline, to not need a parking permit. So I really don't like care about like the kind of things that people are doing with these. Like they go hunting with them and stuff. That's not my world. My world is like getting you to work, getting you to school, getting you to your medical appointments, wherever you have to go in this world, going back and forth, mostly riding on the road. And this just isn't the appropriate bike for that. If you live on a farm and you want a bike to ride around on the farm or something like that, it might be the choice for you. So I don't mean to be like too rude about it, but I would steer you towards any of their other bikes for the vast majority of applications. Rad Runners, we talked about. The Rad City 5 Plus, this bike is currently unavailable, but reason to believe it will be back. Officially, it's unavailable, but I think it'll be back. This is probably one of the best-selling ones for upcycles. The Radster, it's sort of like a downgraded Radster Road. It has the cadence sensing bottom bracket. It has the older battery, but it's a good bike. I really like it. Again, it's kind of Dutch style. Has you like pretty upright. Comes with a rack. Comes with the fenders. It is not ready for a passenger, but I really like it. I'm gonna kind of move fast because I realize I'm 40 minutes into this and I still have a lot I want to cover. But yeah, I endorse that one. And then the Rad Expand, that's their folding bike. It's basically like a runner, but it folds. It's fine. If you want a folding bike, it's the one. It doesn't fold. When it's folded. Just so you're aware, it's not like super easy to carry it folded, super easy to move or folded. That's their biggest sale at the moment. That one's only $1,099. This is the 5. It has the cadence sensing bottom bracket and the mechanical brakes. The 5 Plus, which maybe we'll see that later on, has hydraulic brakes and has the torque sensing bottom bracket and has a better battery. Also has a suspension fork, I think. Looking at mine, yeah. My bikes are over here outside of the shop. But yeah, but so you can put it like in a closet. You can put it like in a trunk of a car. Yeah, I used to do a commute that was like a mix of like Amtrak and folding bike in Philly, and I had to walk down like those. If you've been to the 30th Street station in Philly, you got to walk down like a big flight of stairs. You would not want to carry this bike down like a huge flight of stairs. You're not going to want to like really carry it very far at all when it's folded. But for like storage purposes, for getting it like in and out of like another mode of transportation or however you're keeping it, yeah, it can be nice for folding it if you live in a small apartment or something like that. But if you don't need that functionality, I would go with like the Runner instead. It's similar bike, and yeah, that's pretty much my piece on that. And then the Trike is their Trike. As far as trikes go, electric trikes go, I think it's pretty good. It's only single speed. It's smaller than you would think. It fits into a smaller space than you would think, and that's kind of nice about it. It doesn't go as fast as the others. It tops out at like 15 or something like that. But yeah, that's the Trike. And then, okay, let's try to go faster. So that was City and Commuter folding. We already talked about the Expand and the Expand 5 Plus. This is one of their newer bikes, so it has the torque sensing bottom bracket and the better battery. Boom, boom, boom. Step through is all going to be repeats. I think I actually got to all of them. Felt like that was getting long in the tooth there, but I think I've covered it. Yeah, these are all. Yeah, just some other things about Rad. You get a 2-year warranty out of the box on any bike that you buy this year, which is pretty cool. And then, 1 year is like kind of industry standard, so 2 years is pretty generous. I do a lot of warranty claims with them. I'm like a warranty center. There's other places in Portland that can do it, but I probably do the most. I would assume, and they're pretty quick to take responsibility if there is an issue with a bike, and send out replacement parts, pay for the labor, all of that. So it's a pretty good deal. And then I want to say this too, because I'm doing all this to make money. That's the point. That's why I have a bike shop. if you're going to buy a bike from Rad or anything from Rad, if you first go to upcyclespdx.com, which is my website, let's do it. Let's all do it together. Upcyclespdx.com, and look at that. I even have order Rad already here. So here's my homepage just for Upcycles PDX. Winter hours by appointment only. This is a very small bike shop. Repairs and test rides must be scheduled in advance. To make an appointment, email or text. And then a picture of some Rad bikes. This is outdated. That shows a Rover and a wagon, both of which I no longer have. But both of these runners, this is the Runner 2 and the Runner 3 Plus, I do still have. And then I also have a City and an Expand 5 Plus for test ride. But then you can go here, Rad Power, look at that right there. And then there's about test rides, and there's the bikes that I have, which I just listed. Expand 5 Plus, City 5 Plus, Runner 3 Plus, Runner 2. And then ordering a Rad. So upcyclespdx.com/order Rad, both R's. ORDERRAD. I guess 3 R's, but what I meant was the last and the first. But it has instructions on how to do it, but you don't even have to read those. You can click order Rad, or on that other page, you could click any of the other pages. And of course, it opens in a new tab, so you can't see it. But it just opens up the Rad Power website. Let's see if I think these might all open in a new tab. I set this up, and I don't even know. Let's see. Yeah, they're all going to open in a new tab, so you're not going to come along with me. But basically, if you click any link that takes you from my website to their website, they all open in new tabs. I get a commission on if you buy something, I get a commission on the sale. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It's all the same prices. Also, if you're in Portland and you want me to build the bike, there's instructions on this page, the Order Rad page, as to how to pick me to build your bike. Cool. All right. I listed some other brands I said I was going to talk about. These are other direct-to-consumer brands. One of them was Aventon, which they pronounce Aventon, but I say Aventon, and no one can tell me otherwise. So here's my real take on Aventon. They're generally fine, except they have a bike called the Abound that is such a piece of shit that I will not work on them. They will ruin my day. They made the frames wrong. I was doing assemblies for Aventon, and I'm not anymore. But let's find this piece of junk. Boom, 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 boom. Cargo and utility. Hey, if this email if this live stream gets sent to Aventon, hey Aventon, take responsibility for your garbage. So they want $16.99 for this bike. You could get the Rad Wagon 4 for like a similar price, and it's a better bike. So this is their cargo bike that I think will take 2 passengers. I'm not sure. I think so. It doesn't matter. They made the spacing on the hub and the frame are not the same. The frame is too narrow for the hub, and it's an aluminum frame, so you can't respace it. You compromise it if you try to respace it. So what you have to do is put it on the ground and stomp on it to get it in, and then after doing that, if you want to adjust the brake, which you're probably going to have to do, you have to remove the wheel skirt. Which to do that, you have to get in between these fasteners between the rack and the frame. And then once you do that, when you go to get your brake adjusted, go to put it back on, the fucking rack and the frame don't line up with each other right either. It's a total piece of junk. Total garbage. There are people out there that are happy with them. I'm happy for you. Go with God. I won't fix it. There's another shop in Portland that is like an Aventon shop. They are called the Outer Rim. I have no connection to them. I've been there once, and it was like over a decade ago or about a decade ago. I don't really. Say 9 years ago. I really don't remember. I bought a pair of like Beach Cruiser handlebars out of there. Like they had a barrel of like bargain parts, and I pulled these handlebars out of it. It's the only time I've been there. It's way out at like Halsey and like 106. And they They do Aventons. They have them, I believe, for test ride and whatever. They have some other e-bikes too. I was going to say, I believe when I went there before, it was a previous owner. I think it changed hands, but anyway, you can check them out with them. You can buy this bike today. You can hit this little add to cart button right here, and get it and have your way with it. But it's if and when you get a flat on that back tire, which is like a thing that happens when you need the wheel trued, when you need the rotor replaced, when you need brake pads replaced, when you need anything on this bike. If they charge you a normal price for it, somebody like wasted a bunch of time and the shop lost money on it. And if they charge you like for their time for how long it takes to work on this bike, you're going to be paying like I don't know, you know what I mean? But you're looking at like $100 flat fix instead of like a $20 flat fix if the shop is charging you right for their time. So I would just not buy this bike is really my advice. Some of their other bikes I thought were okay. They had one called the Solterra. Let me see if they still have that. Oh God, you can tell I don't use this website nearly as much as the other one. How do I do things? Let's check out their commuter line. The level bike is probably no, I take it back. The last bike I built for them was one of these level 2 bikes, and also had a frame issue. Don't buy it. The Solterra 2. Look at this thing. It's $899. I built a number of these. They were consistent. They're fine. It has like a 250 watt motor, 350 watt motor. It's a smaller motor, so the back wheel is more like a regular wheel. It has, I believe, the same mechanical disc brake on it that I talked through last week. If you're gonna buy an Aventon, I would get this one. And honestly, it's kind of the only one of theirs I could recommend. They also have a big, stupid, fat tire bike. This Adventure 2. I've worked on a few of these. Please don't buy this bike. I just don't buy it. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm not going to get into specifics. This bike, I will say the wheels come on and off how they're supposed to, so that's kind of cool. But again, it's that big, stupid, like 26 by 2 inch tire. I don't really like it. But so that's Aventon, and then just kind of my experience with them. The only one of theirs I think I can endorse really is the Solterra 2. I haven't seen all of their bikes, so I don't know about the others. They have a newer version of the Abound that's like a shorter cargo thing, so I think it only fits one person. Maybe it's fine, maybe not. I don't know. The Abound, the classic Abound, I think that one's called the Abound SR. Yeah, the Abound SR, you can probably tell from the images there that it's got a shorter cargo compartment over the back wheel. That might be better. I don't know. I specifically am not endorsing it. This Abound, just the Abound, total garbage, total waste of your money. And then, but the Solterra 2, as far as I've seen, solid. I'll say this. I found the company not that easy to work with. When I was having all these issues with the Abound, I got a warranty guy on the phone, and basically I told him what the issues were, and his answer was like, "You got to tell my boss that." And like, no, I don't have to tell your boss that. You tell your boss that. I don't work for your company. And then also he was like, I was having like electrical issues with the bike as well. And he's like, I'm going to send you like a new controller and you're going to put it in. And I'm like, how confident are you that it's actually going to solve this problem? And he's like, it'll solve the problem. And so I did a bunch of additional work on the bike, and it did not solve the problem. So I didn't get like a warm, fuzzy feeling from the company. They probably they probably don't even know who I am. But if they do, and if they see this, hey, reach out. Maybe we can fix it. But wasn't happy with you guys. But I will, if you're looking for a good price on like a decent little commuter e-bike, that Solterra 2, it's fine. And then Blix, I think, is a company I said I would put in here. So Blix, these bikes sell, and I think it's because they have like a look that people like, is really, I think, the main reason. And then again, they come in at a price point comparable to the Rads and the Aventons. I really don't like Blix. I would really discourage you. This is like, take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but a prominent e-bike store here in Portland, a store that only does e-bikes. They used to be a Blix dealer, and they stopped because they had so many issues with these bikes. My experience from customers seems to be that like close to 100% of them out of the box need like a serious repair, like the brakes don't work, kind of serious repair. And then the battery style, it's just like it's a worse design of battery that allows them to arc. And when they arc, basically you get if you've ever like been plugging something in or unplugging something like into your wallet, and you see like a blue like Emperor Palpatine like line of electricity like jump between the plug and the outlet, that's an arc. And it's basically electricity filling like the empty space between two pieces of metal that are charged. And when it does that, it's like uncontrolled electricity out in the air, and it like melts the plastic case on the battery. It could start a fire. I've seen it. It's like a known issue with them. They act like it's not a known issue. They don't take responsibility for it. They really suck. I put them in here just because they're a popular brand, and I really want to do everything I can to damage their reputation and warn people against them. And hey, Blix, if you're seeing this, I don't know. Take a hike. I've got nothing for you. And then that's it. Please don't buy a Blix. I will say this: the people that like buy them and then spend the extra money to get to make them actually work right, I think they're mostly happy with them. But it's a really shady company, low quality item, bunch of bullshit. Don't recommend them. And then Lectric is a company I have very mixed feelings towards. And basically, here's the thing with Lectric. None of these bikes speak to me at all. Visually, style wise, I find them pretty hideous. But also, as I said last time, I'm not an e-bike guy. I'm just a bike guy who started working on e-bikes because it's where it's like the growth part of the industry. I'm more excited about bikes in general. So most e-bikes look kind of, just being honest with you. But the Lectrics are like especially clunky looking. And the ride quality of them, as somebody who rides a lot of bikes, the ride quality of them is very poor, in my opinion. But one, reasonable people can disagree. I'm about to walk it back here on Lectric. Reasonable people can disagree as to like what feels good to ride. And two, a lot of the people that are buying an e-bike maybe don't currently ride a bike. They're not really comparing it to anything. It's just going to be like their first experience riding an e-bike. And so those issues with the ride quality are kind of like invisible to them or immaterial to them. So maybe you don't even have to care about that. They are generally speaking at a lower price point. Let's look. This XP 3.0 is like a big seller for them. Yes, it's like a $1,200 bike. So it's kind of in the same range as like the lower end Rads or like the cheaper Rads or the cheaper Aventons. But their big like marketing point is, so they say they're the best selling e-bike in America. It says it right here. Hop on America's best selling e-bike. You definitely see them all over the road. In this neighborhood, I think I see more Rads, but that might be because of this shop. But you'll definitely see them all. If you're in a place where people ride bikes, you will see this bike. The people that ride them, I think, mostly like them. And their big like marketing point is that like you can basically take it out of the box and it's ready to go. They have like a 2-minute assembly video and very limited experience with them, but that limited experience with them is that like that seems to be true, which is really unusual. The vast majority of bikes, need to be assembled, and you if you're not experienced with bicycle repair, if you're not like mechanically inclined, that assembly is not going to be an easy thing to do to yourself. You'll find plenty of brands that'll send it right to your house. All of the direct-to-consumer brands will. That's what makes them direct-to-consumer. But generally, having seen a lot of bikes that people put together themselves, they probably should have gone to a bike shop for it. But the Lectrics, that's that. And again, your experience may vary, and I'm not like I don't work for them. I'm not endorsing them, but from what I've seen, yeah, you can basically take the bike out of the box and ride it. Follow their 2-minute assembly thing, but it's pretty much ready to go, and that's pretty unusual. And then and to be honest, I'm impressed by it. And then this shop was working with them. I ended that relationship, but not really with any kind of animosity. Just I have enough work to do, and it seems like an extra thing. I'm not well stocked on their parts. Getting parts from them wasn't that hard, but wasn't that easy either. Getting paid by them is like pretty old school. They like you submit like a paper invoice and they write you a check, and it's just kind of silly. And so I ended that relationship, but I don't really have any like animosity towards them. Like Blix, fuck you, Blix. Aventon, less so, but basically fuck Aventon. But like Lectric, they're as people to to email, people to work with, totally fine. And oh, they're also like pretty generous with like, if something breaks, like, sending out replacement parts and stuff, like with kind of like without like a lot of questions asked and stuff. So I give a light endorsement to Lectric if you're looking for this kind of thing. I think the Rads ride better. And Lectric would not be my first choice personally, but you could do a lot worse. And compared to like an Amazon bike or a Walmart bike, you shouldn't even be looking at those. Like, this is kind of like the lowest I would go. And yeah, I mean, it's like $1,000 bike that you can probably take it out of the box and ride it today. Now, when you need service, you're going to have trouble finding anyone that wants to service it, just to be completely honest with you. I will do minor repairs. I have done tune-ups on them. Like flat fixes, brake pads, that kind of thing. I'll do it. I've done tune-ups. I kind of felt like I shouldn't. And then kind of a quirk of them, they don't want, if you break a spoke, they want you to just buy a whole new wheel. They do not want you replacing spokes on them. So I don't know. It's a little bit unusual, but I think they say it's for liability purposes. So that's them. Those 4 I just named to my mind are like the biggest direct-to-consumer bikes, and were really the ones I wanted to cover, and I think are what I put in my subject line. And it's been over an hour, so I think I'm going to cut this off here. I had some other points I wanted to make, but they're just some sort of general things, but maybe I'll save that for next week. I don't have a plan for next week, so we'll see. It's been real. It's been fun. If you watch this, leave a comment. Yeah, let's call it. All right. Thank you.